Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. Within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 230 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days in a row, all outside, bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,500 miles within this time frame. Now, this is my second year ever running. Within the first full year of running, at the age of 31, I was able to run 1,002 miles, and I did that within 175 days out of the year. So me going for 1,500 miles is over a 50% increase in the amount of miles as opposed to last year. And me going for 365 days is over a 100% increase in the amount of days I'll be running as opposed to last year. Not to mention this year are all days in a row, no days off. If that wasn't enough, I've also challenged myself to run two big races within this time frame. One of those races being a 50K trail race. That is the Yankee Springs Trail Race. That was on June 5th, day 156 of my journey. I was able to get that 31-mile race finished in 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds, and keep the streak alive up to and since. But also within this time frame, I have challenged myself to run a marathon, which obviously isn't as long as the ultra marathon I ran. But that marathon is still coming up here in October. That is the Detroit Free Press Marathon. I'll be running the Motor City Challenge of that, which entails me to run the competitive 1 mile and the competitive 5K the day before the actual marathon. So looking forward to that race as well. But like I said, today is day 230 in a row. I am dead right now, just absolutely beat with just out of it. But I was able to get out there again today, kept it a really short day. So let's talk about mileage. For the day today, I got out there and put in 1.5 miles for that put me at 9.7 miles for the week. That put me at 63.4 miles for the month, and that put me at 1,066.1 miles for the year. Let's quickly focus in on the monthly miles. Every single month, I challenge myself to do a 100-mile challenge. I do it in honor of a charity in which I donate money, as well as I try to raise money and raise awareness by starting a fundraiser for that charity. So for the first 7 months of the year, we were able to raise money for 7 great charities. Now we're sitting here within the 8th month, and we're raising money for another great charity here in the month of August. So August's 100-mile challenge is in honor of the National Psoriasis Foundation. I chose that fundraiser this month because of 2 reasons. 1, August is Psoriasis Awareness Month, and 2, psoriasis is something that I have and I've dealt with for a majority of my life. So I thought that would be a good cause to donate money to, as well as try to raise awareness for. So if you would like to actually donate to this month's fundraiser, you can find the link to do so on the Defining Discipline Instagram story or the Defining Discipline Facebook story, or my personal page's Instagram or Facebook story. Within either of those stories, you just click on the link. It'll open up the Facebook page where you're able to make your donation. All donations that get made to this fundraiser go directly to this fundraiser. Facebook is not taking any portion or any cut of it. So know that all our donations are going to the actual cause. I do know times are tough, though. Not everyone is able to actually donate. If that is the case, do not feel bad. The next best thing you could do truly is just click that share button, because like I said, we're trying to raise awareness for these causes as well. And the best way to do that is to put it on your page and let as many people's eyes get on it as possible. And the way to do that, like I said, is to share it, put it on your page, tell other people to share it. Let's just get the fundraiser out there. Hopefully we can raise some money for it and awareness throughout this month. Other than that, though, like I said, today is day 230, and I am beat. So, I do also do a word of the day. I've been trying to read 30 minutes a day as well, but that has not been going very well for a while now, so we're not going to talk about reading. But we have been trying to do word of the day. Yesterday was the first day I didn't get word of the day done just because I was beat. So today's word of the day is defenestration. Defenestration originally meant a throwing of a person or a thing out of a window. Today, it's more often used for a usually swift dismissal or expulsion. That's from a political party or office. Defenestration. That is today's word of the day. So now that we've talked about the word of the day, the charity, the miles, got through the intro, we're going to get right into today's episode 230. And we're going to keep it actually pretty short, ladies and gentlemen. So for that reason, episode 230, day 230, today's episode is going to be exhaustion. And the reason behind that is because I am exhausted. Yesterday I had a very, very long day at work, 17 and a half hours. Got there at 6:30 a.m. and did not leave until midnight. So was actually unable to run throughout that actual day, but I got home right at midnight, like 12:15, and went for a run right before I went to bed. So I got that in, but didn't get anything and everything uploaded until like 1:30. I'm sitting here fighting sleep, trying to get everything up and uploaded, and I think I finally went to bed at like 1:30, 1:45. Had to be back up again this morning to be at work at 7, a little bit later than yesterday, but still a big, huge struggle, especially within the middle of the night. Baby just wasn't having it last night out of all nights. She's been very good, honestly, and then last night she was a little upset. So I think she got up right around 4, kept me up a little bit, but I'm just absolutely exhausted after these past 2 days, especially today. Yesterday, yes, I was a little exhausted after working that many hours, but I still had the energy and still felt, pretty decent after that long day of work. Was able to get to bed and everything. I think the problem for today was just the actual lack of recovery, of not being able to get a good night's sleep to actually just restore all the energy I burned off, and it definitely took its toll. I remember actually getting into work this morning and talking to my coworker, and actually thinking I felt pretty good for not getting as much sleep. It was a struggle getting up to actually get to work, but once I was up for a little bit, I felt decent, and that lasted about a whole 2 hours, 3 hours, and then it was all downhill from there. It was me literally battling every second to find any energy. I got everything done I needed to get done. I was still picking stuff up, but my body just felt absolutely just like weak and just depleted. So I was exhausted all day today, but as you can tell, I still got out there and still got home and put in more miles. Today's day, I think, was a 10-hour shift. Got out at 5 p.m., so it was still a pretty long shift, but was still able to get my run in, even though being completely exhausted. So I wanted to talk about exhaustion, because exhaustion is going to happen, especially when your plate is full and you're putting in a lot of work and you have a lot of responsibilities. You will be exhausted, and there's going to be days that are going to be a huge struggle. You're going to be really fighting through it, like I was today, just to make it. So exhaustion is going to happen, And the thing to think about exhaustion is, one, it's going to be temporary. Yes, you may have a long stretch of it of where you're working many hours or whatever the case is, but to really realize that when you're exhausted, it's usually for a good reason why you're exhausted. So I try to look at this exhaustion with a positive light, even though I'm dead tired and I feel miserable and feel just the garbage. The way to look at it is, I feel like this because I put in a lot of work. I put in a good long day. I put in hard days. Yes, also lack of sleep. That was probably not a good positive part out of it, but being exhausted means that you're usually on the right path. And I find myself, the more exhausted I am and the more work I'm putting in, the days go by a lot faster. I'm not too much in my head, not too much overthinking things. So it's a good thing to continuously be busy and to get exhausted. But also key with exhaustion is recovery and sleep. Like I said, it's not good to be exhausted all the time. I just said there'd be times when you're exhausted for a long period of time, but it's not actually healthy for you to be exhausted all the time, 24/7. So while yes, there's a positive light of knowing if you're exhausted, you're probably putting in work that needs to get done. You have lots of responsibilities, and you're getting the things done that you need to get done, and that is a good thing. But also, you're just not going to be on the top of your game if you consistently are exhausted. You're going to be very stressed. It's not healthy at all for you. You'll probably, not a doctor, and I'm not going to go crazy with it, but you probably will die sooner from the amount of exhaustion and stress that's going to be put on your body from just doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So the main thing is, like I said, exhaustion is a good thing. It means you're probably on the right path, but to be consistently exhausted, maybe it means you're overworking just a little bit too much. And to be really fully in there and not burned out and not overworked, and to not really kind of fall off of your actual production, you got to make sure that even if you are exhausted for long periods of time, that you do get some rest and you do get some recovery in, and you do take the time to really focus on getting your body back into that perfect state that it needs to be in. So for your daily discipline today, guys, it is to think about that exhaustion within your life. Think about those times when you were exhausted. Was it when you were really putting forth a lot of effort towards something? Maybe it wasn't even something you wanted to do, but you did it. That's the whole point, is you were productive within that, productive enough that it actually made you tired. So for your daily discipline today, it is to realize that exhaustion, while again on a small scale, means you're heading in the right direction. So if you can go out there and really exhaust yourself to do these things that you really want to get done and need to get done that you maybe you've been putting off. So go out there and really exhaust yourself, put in a good full day's work. And again, don't do it day in, day out. Make sure you get enough rest to recover from that exhaustion. But when you're really exhausting yourself, you're really heading in the right direction. But again, I can't iterate it enough that even if you are heading in the right direction and you're exhausted, you still need to recover and rest as much as possible. So exhaust yourself, but also try to get that recovery in, because it is so well and so much needed. So guys, thank you so much for following along and listening to episode 230 about exhaustion. I am your host, Scott. This is the Defining Discipline podcast. If you guys can, please give the podcast a like, a subscribe, a follow, a share on our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube, and whatever podcast streaming platform you've been following along and listening on. So thank you so much. again, the whole message kind of behind all these episodes and just the podcast in general is the whole point behind it is me really trying to work on myself individually, because there's so much that I believe that needs to be worked on. And I think it's the whole message again behind it is I think that's what everyone should be doing. I think everyone should be focusing on an individual level of their own flaws and their own atrocities or whatever it is that they really need to focus on. I think one of the biggest problems within the world today is the criticism of other people, when I think we really truly need to be criticizing ourselves and working on ourselves on an individual level. And I believe that if we can really work on ourselves on an individual level, that that would also reflect on a peer-to-peer level, where you will have people also watching you work on yourself, that makes them want to work on themselves. But also, if everyone were to just work on themselves and try to work on themselves and really hone in and focus in on what they know to be wrong about them, or they know what they need to be working on, I truly believe that if we were all to do that, we could make the world a much friendlier and better place almost immediately, if everyone really tried to focus in on the things that they are doing wrong instead of always trying to worry about other people. So that's what this whole podcast is about, guys. The Defining Discipline podcast. It's about my me getting into my running career, as well as just really trying to focus in on becoming the best individual I can be, so that I can give that back to the world. So thank you guys again so much for listening and follow along. I am your host, Scott. I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 231. Doesn't even seem real that we're this far along, but we are. And until then, guys, have a good night and peace out.